Speech 1315.
No. Show me. Okay. Ready?
Alright, so hunting can be fun, although it is dangerous, and it is important to know and practice hunter safety and maintenance requirements that are needed for leases and ranches, and also how to skin and field dress deers after you take the big shot. So according to 2012 Hunters Accident Analysis, there were 25 accidents in the state of Texas, 5 of which were fatal and 20 were non-fatal. The 5 fatal accidents consisted of misuse of guns, and they were accidental discharges. 1 gun fell out of the driver's side of a car and discharged into the head of a person. Some of the hunter education requirements is for people born September 2nd, 1971 and after. They are required, if you're 17 years or older, you're required to take a hunter safety course. And this course is an online course, about 4 to 6 hours, and you have to pass with a 70. The Texas Park and Wildlife is the ones that give you the certificate. You print it out after you take the online course and pass the test. You have to print it out, and it's valid for 90 days, and then Texas Parks and Wildlife will send you one in the mail, a hard copy in the mail, 3 to 4 weeks later. And if you're the age of 9 to 16, it's the same requirements, except for you have to take a field day course, which the field day course consists of a class for hunter's education, gun safety, and a written portion for them. And that's another 4 to 6 hours in addition to the online course that they have to take. Once you've passed both of those, for the 9 to 16-year-olds and the 17-year-olds, once you've passed both, you can go get a hunting license. You don't need to show your hunter's education. You don't need to show it to them when you go get it. It shows up on your license at the top right corner. And when you go get your license in the state of Texas, you can ask for a super combo, which allows you to get a hunting, fishing, and bird license with all the tags. And all the tags are is just proof of the animal you killed and what county and what ranch or wildlife reserve you took it from. And some tips for safety is make sure you have an orange vest with you. When you're hunting, you need to wear your orange vest whenever you're outside of the blind roaming around. It's also important that you don't have a loaded gun in a lodge. You also need to make sure that your gun is always pointed at the ground and the safety is on. And the most important one, and it causes the most accidents, is someone mistaking a person out in the brush as an animal and taking a shot. So always double check what you're shooting at. The next thing is the knowledge of taking care of a lease or maintaining a ranch. In the state of Texas, you can't just shoot any animal anywhere you like. If you do that, it's considered poaching. You can go to jail and get fined for it. So you need to make sure you know where you're hunting, and if you don't know where you're hunting, you need to look it up. It's also very important to practice herd management, and all herd management is making sure that you're shooting mature bucks or bucks that aren't going to, produce anything else later on. When you harvest a buck, the antlers need to be extended outside of the ears, and they also need to be about 4 years old. That's how you practice herd management and maintain your bucks. And then whenever you're filling feeders, we have about 10 feeders, and we fill our feeders about every 5 weeks. We have 300-pound feeders, and we use blinds, and they're about 150 to 175 yards from the feeders. Once you take the big shot, so when you're sitting up in a blind and you're looking down the scope and you see a buck or a doe, either one, and it is important when you take the shot that you mark the deer where it is, mark a spot where you shoot at, and know which way the deer runs, to the right or to the left. Because if you hit it and it doesn't drop and it runs off in the brush, you're going to have to go look for it. So you need to know about which way it goes and about how far out it is. You need to make sure you wait 30 to 45 minutes after the shot to go up to the doe or buck, because you don't want to spook it if it's not dead. So you don't want to go up right away. You want to wait, because it's much harder to track a wounded deer than it is if you just let it lay there and die. When you get down out of the stand, you do need to make sure that you're wearing your orange vest. It's very important that you do that, just in case there's any other hunters in the area, and they think you're an animal because they see brush moving. Once you approach the deer, the buck or the doe, you need to tag it immediately. Pull your tags. If it's an antlerless deer or a doe, you need to pull the antlerless tag only. And if it's a buck, you need to pull the either antlerless or buck, or the buck only tag. And you need to write down the county you shot it in and the wildlife reserve or ranch or lease, wherever you're shooting at. Make sure you write down both of those and cut the dates, the date and the month out. And then for a buck, you need to make sure that you tag the buck from the head of it to the first brow tide. And then for a doe, you need to make sure you tag the doe in the ear. You pierce the hole through the ear and tag the doe in the ear. So that way, if the game warden stops you on the way back to the lodge or your lease or wherever you're at, back to the house, you can show him that this is your buck, you were the one that shot it. When you finally get back to the lodge or the lease or wherever you're at, you hang it up upside down and hang it by the feet, and you gotta skin it, which is just removing all the fur from it, and then you have to take all the organs out or gut it. Once you do that, you put all of that in a bucket, and rather than throwing it away, you can throw it out to the coyotes or whatever's out there. And then you gotta quarter it, and then once you quarter it, you throw all the meat into a cooler and freeze it. Now when you're transporting it to some place that it's going to get processed or anything like that, you have to have the tags with it. So don't throw out the heads of a doe, don't throw out the heads of a buck. You need to make sure you keep them. When you're transporting it, if you do get stopped by a game warden while you're transporting it, you need to make sure you have your hunting license, as well as whatever other persons were in the vehicle with you that shot a deer. They all need to have their hunting license as well. And then for a buck, you need to make sure that when you take it to get it processed, you have the tag with you. You don't have to take the head of a buck to get the meat processed. You just tape the tag to the top of the cooler that the buck meat is in. And then for a doe, you have to make sure you have the head with you, or the processing plants won't take the meat at all. And then once you've done that, you're pretty much done. You need to go pick up the meat. They will give you the tags back. You can throw the tags away once you've done that. So just make sure that all these safety tips are very important. You need to know about hunter's education. You need to take it seriously when you're out there. You need to know a little bit about a ranch. And if you don't know anything about a ranch or don't know much about a ranch or a lease, make sure you go with somebody who does, or go to a lease where they can show you the ropes. And that's it.
Any anything else?
Questions?
Questions?
What kind of rifle do you use?
We hunt in South Texas, so the rifles we use is a 7-mag or 300 Win. Most South Texas deer are bigger than any others, so we have to use big rifles. Whereas North Texas or East Texas, they use 270s or 30-06s, which is a smaller caliber than what we use. Anything else?